Try number 2. I think that's what I'm doing, right? Knock on wood for me, wherever you are. Knock on wood. How their pregnancy? How your pregnancy going? What do we know? We don't know anything. So, you know, like 2 videos back when I said I had to use Band-Aids to keep my notes up, I actually looked in one of my drawers and I had 6 rolls of tape in there. Hey guys, it's Manda the CMA here again. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new to my channel, I talk about anything and everything medical assisting and beyond. I am so glad that you guys are here today. I am talking about how to make your patient a little bit more comfortable during blood draws. As you know, doing blood draws is a very big part of medical assisting. It is definitely one of the most dreaded class, but once you get okay with it, are your patients okay with you doing blood draws? Are they okay with blood draws in the first place? Who knows? That's the thing. So today I will just be going over some tricks and maybe a little bit of something that you can follow in order to make your patients more comfortable and hopefully not pass out. So stay tuned and let's get started. So I know I said that I wasn't going to do tutorials, and this is not a tutorial, I promise. So don't say,
"Man, this is pretty much a tutorial. Why can't you just teach us how to do blood draws?"
I'm not about that. I can't do that. Me bringing home needles and, you know, that kind of thing, I'm not allowed to bring medical supplies home with me. What I will at least tell you today is that I have been doing phlebotomy as a medical assistant my whole entire career, so for 6 years. And over those 6 years, you kind of get the hang of everything and you kind of figure out how to make your patients feel a little bit more comfortable. So with the amount of patients that I've actually had pass out on me, I can count it on one hand. I can literally even count it on one finger. I've only ever had one person in 6 years pass out on me. Really, the story behind that one is that the patient was non-English speaking. They were from a different country, and I asked if they did okay with blood draws, and their answer was that they do fine, they just get happy. So me thinking like, okay, you get happy, like that's kind of weird, you like blood draws? So we proceeded with everything, and then she proceeded to pass out. So that's the only time that that's ever happened. So it is critical to make your patients feel comfortable during blood draws. It's mostly about you don't want that patient to pass out. That's the biggest thing that I do, and I think everything else kind of falls in place, how to make patients comfortable so they don't pass out and hopefully they like you for later. So let's get on with how I do this. Like I said, this isn't a tutorial. I'm just going through just the general stuff that you wouldn't learn in school of how to make a patient comfortable. So I always ask if they do okay with blood draws. That's usually how I say it every single time. And the funny part is every time I ask patients, I would say probably about 80% of the time I do okay with blood draws, I just don't like to look at it. So see how many times you see that in the field. See how many people give you that exact answer. I'll sit there and joke with them and say, if I had $1 for every time that I heard that, I probably wouldn't have to poke people for a living. So my thing is, I always talk to patients, I get super sarcastic and funny, and it's just something to take that patient away from what else is going to be happening. If patients don't do okay with getting their blood drawn, number one rule is that you lay them down on an exam table. You'll want to get out the ammonia salts if your clinic has them. You'll want to get out a cold compress as well. Usually they have like the instant cold packs or something of the sort, and just have that on standby, because if that patient knows that they don't do good with blood draws, then you're probably going to want to have that there. If they look nervous or you really think that they might pass out from the blood draw, never ever hesitate to tell the patient, I would feel more comfortable if you would lay down on an exam table. I feel like you're going to be a little bit more comfortable. Just don't be afraid to tell them that. So after all of that, you're going to want to prep everything that you're going to have to use for your blood draw. Usually at this time, I'm talking to the patient, just trying to get a conversation started. You can talk about the weather, if they're going back to work. If you know the patient a lot more, I see a lot of my patients every year, or since we do OB care, I see them quite often. I'll use that time to catch up with them and ask them how their life is going, how their 3 kids are, ask them just a lot of different questions, and just keep that conversation rolling the whole time. You want to make this feel like it's not a big deal for you. You're just going through the motions. I do this all the time. I know I need this. I need a cotton ball. I need a hub. I need a needle. I need to have a Band-Aid. I need to have these specific tubes. You're just doing that you're getting everything set up, and you've got the patient there, and they probably don't even know what's going on. After you've got everything prepped and you're still talking to the patient, you'll want to put the tourniquet on. And for me, actually, that is the worst part of getting my own blood drawn. It's just really uncomfortable. So usually what I do with patients is to actually put the tourniquet over their sleeve. So if they've got a sleeve that's a little bit lower like this, then just wrap the tourniquet around, tie it, and there you go. So they feel a little bit more comfortable. Find the vein, see where you're going to be poking, make sure that you're still keeping the conversation going. A lot of people sometimes, and I think it makes patients nervous, like I said, it's from my point of view, but a lot of times people will say, okay, are you ready? And then they poke. With me, when I do the blood draws, I actually just keep talking. Like I said, just treat everything like it's no big deal. You've been doing this for a long time. The patient's going to feel more comfortable if they see that you're laid back, and if you just go for it and just poke them, get it over with, and they're still talking in the middle of a conversation and doing just fine, they're going to be perfectly fine with the blood draw. A lot of times I've distracted people and they say, I didn't even feel you poke me. And then after that, I actually had a lot of people request that I draw their blood, which all I did was distract them the whole time. So it's very nice to hear, but all I did was talk to them the whole time. So you're always gonna have some patient that is just rude and doesn't want to talk to you. And my advice for that is,
don't care.
So if they don't want to talk to you, even if you've tried once or twice, just leave them. Leave them in silence, because if that's what they want, then that's what they're gonna get. So the other kind of silence that isn't good is when they're starting to pass out. And that is the big issue. So let's talk about the last part of this. If somebody actually gets to the point where they feel like they're passing out, I usually ask the patient somewhere in between everything. If I was not sure if they were going to do okay, or if they kind of paused and they're talking, I always ask if they do okay. Things to watch out for if somebody may end up passing out. The biggest thing that you're going to notice first, if you're talking to them the whole time, is that it's going to become very labored and very hard for them to keep speaking. And they start slowing down. They're like, well, it's kind of rainy outside. That is the first sign of somebody with possibly passing out. So let's go over some of the things that could happen if somebody's getting close to passing out. Are they lightheaded? Are they able to hear okay? It's going to sound like they have their ears cupped. That's going to sound very muffled. They're getting sweaty. They're getting very hot. They are looking very pale. If they start moving around in the chair and just look like they're trying to get comfortable, or they're sitting forward or backward and they start moving, that could be another sign they're trying to get comfortable, because the way that they're sitting is just not comfortable anymore because it's using too much effort. Another one is when patients start to yawn. What I have been told about yawning, the body is trying to get more air circulating through the system, so they start yawning. And I never even knew that, but I thought it was something fascinating. So those are definitely things that you want to watch out for in case a patient does end up showing some of those symptoms. Then you'll be prepared to go and get your ammonia salts that you set out and your cold pack and help that patient. Now, I'm not going to go any further with this, because hopefully in school you were trained on what to do if a patient was to pass out or a patient was getting close to passing out. So that is where I will leave everything, and let's just end the video there. So guys, hopefully you learned a little bit of something about how to make a patient comfortable during a blood draw. I use this technique every single time that I draw blood, and hopefully you guys have found a little bit of insight. Make sure that you turn it into your own thing. You don't have to do exactly what I had just gone over. Find your own little groove. Find something that you're comfortable doing and something that's working for you, and that's the best way to do it. If you guys liked my video today, make sure that you give it a like. If you are not subscribed to my channel already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down there and the little bell if you want to get notifications for my next video. I do have an Instagram page. You can just search for Manda, the CMA, on Instagram, and it will bring me up. If you guys like the video, if you want to follow me a little bit, make sure that you do those things, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.